we got a big flip reversal, and now you got to manage for risk. Let's move to our second challenge of the day. We're going to take our focus a little bit off the NFPs, let the market settle in, and we'll absorb that. And let's talk commodities. Now, commodities are also a really interesting story today because we have OPEC Plus meeting. There was an meeting yesterday, but they kind of pushed everything back to today. There's lots of uncertainty in the marketplace as to exactly what they want to do. The general convention or consensus was that OPEC Plus was going to expand its capacity by about 400,000 barrels. But then yesterday, Abu Dhabi came in and said, no, they want a special deal. They kind of scuttled that deal. And the market is really on pins and needles. Oil has hit 75 highs. It hasn't seen that in years, and continues to be relatively well bid. So the question is, where are we on the commodity front? What do you like today? Oil, gold, and I'm going to include crypto as part of our commodity basket. You get to choose, make some calls here of what you want to trade. And Dave, if you can share your screen, maybe since you're the oil expert here today, you do a lot of commodity trading. Love to see your screen and see what you think about the setup as it goes.
My trade that I'm actually currently in, I'm short oil. I'm short it via some options on USO, but you could do the same exact trade on the CFD for oil. It's really more based on kind of quantitative data as opposed to the technicals. I think the technicals are pretty clear. Oil's been on a straight move higher, but bear with me here. A couple of bullet points here that I think are really important that we want to take in. For the first time in a long time, we've got backwardization in the futures market, where what that basically means is that the front month futures contract is trading at a massive premium to the contracts 12 months out. In fact, the average spread is usually about 9 cents. We're currently at $4.50, and that is unprecedented.
So what does that mean, like for those traders who don't quite understand backwardization, what is the market telling you by pricing the front month so much more expensive than the back month?
For whatever reason, they just feel as though they've got to be buying oil now, and it just creates kind of a really lopsided bid in the market. Most people think oil will be worth more 12 months out from now.
Right. Usually that means the market thinks that the supply constraints are present but will be relieved in the future. That's why they're not pricing the future as expensively as the present, because they see supply constraints now. Okay.
Yeah. So again, just using historical data, when you've had that type of backwardization to this extent, you usually get a mean reversion in oil. Adding to that, we've had the price, of course, of oil has just gone straight up. We were 2 standard deviations above the 50-day average. We got to pull back. Last week.
Do me a favor, Dave. Can you have oil on your chart? I'd love to see you. Can you share the chart with us, please?
I only have the USO chart, but I can pull it up.
Okay, it's fine. I mean, it's a good enough substitute. We can take a look at it. We'd love to see your chart. Just click. You got to click on the restream. There's a button on the bottom right next to the video. Right next to the video thing, it says share chart. There you go. Share screen. You got it. You got it. Beautiful.
So again, being pretty basic chart. I'm not going to do a deep dive on technicals here because there's not much to do. It's straight up. Right. But we did have this pullback last week, and that was a couple weeks ago. That was to some degree, a little bit of a reset from this massive move up. So bottom line is, when you've had these types of events where you're 2 standard deviations above the 50-day, you've got the backwardization. On average, you can see oil prices down about 13%, anywhere from 1 to 3 months out. There's been 5 instances of that over the last 10 years. 4 of those instances ended up with prices lower in oil. Only 1 where oil was higher. So I'm just basing it on historical data where we had similar situations. So I'm bearish on oil as a trade, 1 month out, 1.5 to 3 months out, somewhere in there.
So we're gonna mark you
next week.
Sounds good. For trading battle purposes, we're gonna mark you short oil at 74.42 now. And we'll see how that trade works out. You obviously have a longer term trade, so maybe we will hold that trade all the way through trading battle and maybe into the next week, and we can update the position. But generally, your view is that it's got to come in a little bit, and we're gonna mark you short here on the thing.
And I think even if somebody doesn't have that long of a time horizon, I think oil's at a level where they're there's even some short-term opportunities.
Yeah,
You know,
I agree.
you might have your stops too tight because it's kind of always hard to get in front of a moving market or a market that's moving that much higher. But that's where I feel prices are going.
Okay, sounds good.